And now, let's bring out our special guest.
Hey everybody, it's Todd Kozinka from youthinfitness.ca. Today we have a special guest on the line. I'm going to be talking with Justin Illien from Souk, British Columbia. And Justin, welcome.
Hey, thanks, Todd.
Justin, I'm going to ask you a little bit about your background. And first of all, I'm going to let the people know what this is all about today. We're talking about youth fitness, and specifically today we're going to be talking a little bit about youth obesity and but the importance of fitness and health. But Justin, tell me a little bit about your background, and then we'll get into kind of the nuts and bolts of where you came from and then where you are now. And it's a pretty interesting story. So go ahead and let our listeners know all about Justin Illien.
All about Justin Illien.
Yeah.
Born and raised in Souk. I'm a local boy. Went to school in Souk Elementary, and then Journey Middle, and then Edward Milne Community School. By high school, I was getting really involved with like community involvement, things like that, leadership, all that good stuff. But mostly just kind of stuck to school, tried out sports every now and again. That didn't work out too well. But pretty quiet in the community, but just a pretty run-of-the-mill kid.
Now, where is Souk for the people that don't know? You can let them know where Souk, of all the places, probably not many people listening, because they could be listening anywhere in the world, have no idea where Souk is.
Souk is a lovely little town, about 45 minutes west or east of Victoria. Great little spot, lots of trees, lots of nature. You should definitely go there if you ever get the chance.
Well, I am here, as you know, and I agree. People should go here if they get the chance. It's a beautiful spot. So, Justin, with regards to your time in childhood, how much do you? I'll just ask a direct question and then go back for when you were younger. How much do you weigh now? I know it's kind of a strange question, but and how what's your size? How tall are you? So give people an idea of what you are now and what you were when you were younger.
So right now at 19, I am about 165, and I am about 5'8" ish.
Mm-hmm.
And it kind of peaked for me in grade 7. I guess I would have been about 15, maybe 16 around then.
Mm-hmm.
I was like 5'6", 5'7", and I weighed about 200 pounds.
200 pounds. So you've lost quite a bit of weight. So now that's 35 pounds of weight, and you're now, I mean, I've seen you, and maybe we can, I don't know, get a picture that we can put on the video or the audio from you so you can see what you look like now. I don't know if do you have any pictures from when you were overweight at that young age?
I think I have one I could try and scan.
Okay. Now, so grade 7, let's say grade 7 is maybe 12, 13 years old, something like that. What was it like before that when you were growing up and maybe you were, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11? Were you overweight at that time? And how did it get to that?
Yeah, I left a bunch of blank space.
Yeah, go ahead.
All right. So growing up, it was always an issue. I was always a bigger kid. So through elementary school and middle school, it was definitely an issue. I think it all started kind of innocently between my mom and I, because it was just her and I growing up, and she kind of had the boots of a father to fill as well as being a mom. So we'd always have like funny Saturday nights where we would eat chips and pop and play video games and just have that kind of bonding moment. And so that kind of became like a weekly happening, and we didn't have a lot of money growing up, so it was a lot of not the best food and not being able to eat really, really well. So it just kind of, I guess, all stemmed from that, and I wasn't really physically active, and it just kind of compounded, and I ended up being pretty big, but it's hard to say it was like really bad at the same time, because it was like this bonding moment with me and my mom, but at the same time, it's this fact of you've got to be wary of how your kids are doing and keeping them healthy. So we spent some great time together, but it maybe wasn't the best for my body growing up. I was definitely outcast a lot just because I was pretty huge. I got made fun of pretty much until grade 10. So almost all of school was spent being bullied and mistreated, treated differently just because of my size. And it made it really tough. It It was really, really challenging as a kid,
So,
trying to get
yeah,
along with people.
like, I mean, I know that must, as a kid, it must be devastating to know that you're just a kid and people are treating you differently just because you look differently, and that goes across the board, whether you're made fun of because you're black or Chinese or different in any community, whether you have different color hair or you're overweight or you're too skinny or whatever. That must be very tough. What were some of the things that went on in your mind emotionally, if you can remember back, uh, uh, when you were being bullied and when you were being treated? How did that affect your self-esteem?
It absolutely devastated my self-esteem. I remember a lot of the times just feeling like completely alone, like just feeling like there was nobody there for me. Like I didn't even have that much hope in myself. It was just like, wow, there's nobody. Um, it was really depressing. It was really frustrating.
Now, were there ever any suicidal thoughts? I mean, I know that in the news lately, there's a lot of news about, these bullying situations where kids are, killing themselves because the bullying is so bad. Did you ever get to that stage where you felt, there's, like you mentioned, no hope, but did you ever feel like, well, that's it? And you had to do something about it, or what was the process?
I never came to suicidal thoughts, and I don't know what kept me from that. But I never got to that point, which I feel really fortunate for.
Good. Now, um, we see a lot of kids. At least I see a lot of kids, and nowadays, and you just have to open your eyes and go to any school, and you'll see kids now that the obesity is starting younger and younger. You're seeing it in grade two, maybe no, not so much grade two, but a little bit. But then it's grade three, grade four, grade five. They're reducing the amount of physical education in the schools, and that's part of the problem. It's not just a single issue problem. There's other issues with lack of playtime, lack of phys ed. Obviously, a lot of the processed foods that kids are eating. One of the things I notice is that if you see an overweight child, usually their parents are overweight. It's a role modeling thing, and it's also maybe the kids are overweight and parents are overweight because kids are eating what the parents are eating, and what the parents are eating are junk. And you've already mentioned, the junk food thing. Was your mother overweight?
Yes, my
Yeah,
mother was overweight.
yeah. Now, it's like I don't want to psychoanalyze and get into it. Like, do you feel that maybe by eating those chips and bonding with her, that you were making her feel better in your own little way of, you know, hey mom, I'm going to be just like you, or did you just do it because it was fun? And what kid wouldn't eat chips and pop if they could all the time?
Well, Freud. No, I definitely think it was just out of having fun. We would watch, like the scary TV shows and get all freaked out and cuddle up on the couch. And I think that was really rewarding for her as an only parent to have their kid like nuzzling up to them. And I think if that's what it took to have that happen,
Mhm.
then she would make sure that would happen to have
Yeah.
that time together.
Yeah, and I don't think I think parents always want to do what's best for their kids, and that was the way that she did it. And I grew up in exactly the same situation, just with a mother and no brothers or sisters, no dad. So I know where you're coming from that. But I wasn't as close to my mom as it sounds like you were to yours, and we definitely never sat and had chips and watched scary movies and stuff. But so you're now 15. You're in grade 10. You're 200 pounds. Take us through a typical day that you would have when you'd wake up, like the thoughts you'd have going to school, and then what would happen at school, and then after school, and I just want to kind of get into your head about how bad it really was for people that might be listening that think that they're no one else has ever gone through this.
It's a lot of dread.
Hmm.
You just kind of like wake up in the morning and you know what you're coming into. You know somebody's going to call you fat or somebody's going to call you a faggot or something's going to happen. And so you kind of wake up and it's almost like a suicide bomber in a war. Like you know what you're running into and it's not going to be very pretty. but you've got to do it anyway, no matter what. So it's like you get up, really not motivated to go to school, really don't want to. Like, one, oh great, I get to go to a math class today. And then on top of that, I'm going to have people making fun of me, and I'm not going to have any friends to hang out with at lunch. And I'm going to go sit around for the recess with nobody to hang out with. And coming home, it was kind of the same deal, because I never really wanted to talk to my mom and be like, yeah, these kids made fun of me today. I got called a fag 4 times. I spent lunch alone on the upstairs, and then yeah, that was my day, and I'm gonna go sit on the computer now. Like, there was no part of the day to look forward to, I think, maybe other than going to sleep.
So Justin, when you're 15 years old and you're 200 pounds and you're 5'8", and you're in grade 10 approximately, how long did it take to get up to that stage? How many years, or what was the process of all that dread that you just mentioned, getting to this point where eventually you realize, okay, that's enough? How many years would you say, and maybe a few details about that?
Yeah, it kind of like really started to become aware to me by early high school. Yeah, grade 9 or 10. It was like the bullying was really bad through elementary school, and middle school it started to kind of alleviate a little bit, but it wasn't much better. And then high school was kind of a new lease, because it's big, it's high school. And the major trigger for me to start to really want to lose weight was I was having back problems. And it was just constant pain all the time. I got an injury in grade 7 or 8, which was torn muscle tissue in my hip. But I was constantly in pain too for about 2 years, and got an X-ray on my back. And eventually, after seeing like every doctor under the sun, sports medicine specialists, physiotherapists, kinesiologists, kinesthesiologists, sorry. No, kinesiologists. I don't remember. And family doctors and X-rays and bone scans and MRIs and all this junk. And eventually an X-ray on my back said that I had a lower lumbar osteoarthritis.
Wow.
And the doctors said, like, okay, you've got this for life. It's not going to go away. It won't get better, per se. But, and he suggested really the only things to do were to eat well and exercise were the only things I could do to really help it. And I found that out in grade 9. I'm still fairly overweight, and I just wallowed for about a year. I just was constantly in pain. It was that looming, you're going to have this forever. So I was like, yeah, I'm not going to be able to get rid of this. I'm going to have to live with this. This is going to be my life. So, by about grade 9 or 10, the bullying slowed down, but then it was this huge internal battle of like, okay, I've got this condition forever. I'm going to be dealing with this pain for my whole life. This is awful. Like, this is not cool. This is not going to be enjoyable. And then, come grade 10, I just kind of hit this breaking point. And I said, I just said, screw it. I was pretty much just, screw it all. Forget it. My back, I don't care about it anymore. And I just decided that, like, I think now is the time to try and get myself healthy and just see what happens. And just started to do it. I got a paper route, which is what started all the weight loss. I had a paper route. So I was walking 3 hours, 2 times a week.
Wow.
And it was through the summertime, so it was really hot. So you definitely sweat a little bit more. And just that exercise really, really, really helped, made a huge difference. And just started to eat a little bit better. I think, too, with the doctor saying, the only way is to eat better and exercise, that my mom kind of was like, all right, it's time to help my kid out and make this happen. So, started to have more balanced meals, no more McDonald's or chips and pop, no more scary Saturdays, which was okay. It's kind of growing out of that at that point, too. And yeah, that summer that I had the paper route and just started to eat a little bit better. And I mean, it wasn't like I was running or biking all the time or playing sports. Like, it was just walking and eating a bit better, and I lost like 15 pounds that summer. So it was like 2, maybe 3 months, and just like a huge, huge drop. And that kind of started to really alleviate the back pain. And I started to feel really good. And, I was losing weight, and I was like, oh man, this hasn't happened in a long time. And just getting excited for things and starting to feel a bit better about myself
Yeah.
and regaining some self confidence and some value for who I was, which was really, it was really magical and a really incredible thing to go through.
Now, did your mother realize that you were overweight? Because I think a lot of times parents are kind of in denial, or they think their kids are, he's fine or she's fine. They're not overweight. Like, did she really see that you were overweight, or did she know, but she felt she was helpless to do anything about it? What do you think her view on her son being, really overweight at a very young age? What do you think her view was on that?
I think it might have been I think it was the denial, the kind of, I know it's there, but I think she may have felt helpless towards it. Or maybe I think she may have just kind of let it go for the fact that we were bonding and that I had somebody to go to in her. So I think it was the fact of, yeah, he is overweight, but you know what? For what's going on right now, I think it's best to keep it this way because he can still connect with me, and he's my kid, so it's all good.
Now, did you want to ever, or did you play sports when you were a kid at all, like when you were overweight, or was it too hard to play sports with the excess weight, or what was the situation?
I tried, and I tried playing soccer in grade 6, which didn't go over really, really well. I also had a bit of asthma, so that affected my breathing. So trying to like run around and be super huge was not an easy task. And I really just remember one moment where we had to run laps to warm up. And it's on a soccer field, so like, a decent sized lap. And running, and my asthma was just really killing me, and I was having a really hard time breathing and a really hard time running. And one of these kids, I can't remember what he yelled at me, but I was the last one running around the field, and I think he just, hurry up, fatty, you're holding everybody up, or something along those lines. And it just like, I was having a hard time. It was almost an asthma attack, so I was like struggling to breathe. Nobody's coming out to help me. Nobody's giving me any support, and all I've got is this kid screaming at me and making fun of me. And it was really hard to try and play sports. Because I wanted to. I wanted to try it out. I wanted to be active, and I wanted to do these things. But it was the social aspect of just nobody enjoying who I was really made it hard to get engaged.
Yeah, and I think that's a good lesson for any kid that is, if we have any kids listening, you don't realize how harmful your comments can be to someone that is young and struggling with self-esteem issues. And I mean, it's the same as bullying. I mean, it's the same thing. It is a form of that. And, people say things that are cruel and mean all the time. Maybe they don't realize it, but maybe they're trying to be funny. But that effect that had on you, I mean, that could have been devastating. It was devastating at the time. It could have been a lot worse. Now, this was grade 6, you said, playing soccer. Did you play sports when you were in grade 2 or 3 or 4, like in school or outside sports like hockey or any other sports? Or did you kind of just try when you were older, and by that point you didn't really have a lot of, athletic skill?
Yeah, definitely through elementary school, it wasn't sports. I didn't really do much of anything. Towards the later years, I did shot put for track and field, because that was kind of the scapegoat for overweight kids. You'd see a lot of really big kids doing that because that's what you need to be to do those types of those events. You just need to be a big guy. So
why do you think you didn't play anything, or and not that sports are the only thing to keep kids from becoming overweight, but it's it's a form of activity, and maybe, I'm going to give you a two-part question here. Why do you think you didn't play sports? And the other part of the question is, did you do anything else that was in any way active up until grade 6?
I don't think I played any sports, um, because I didn't feel confident in who I was. Like I'd see a lot of, the skinny kids, the skinny popular kids playing sports, or there was all the hockey guys, and like it's funny. You'd think hockey jock stereotypes start, later in life, but there were definitely like the hockey jocks in elementary school, and a lot of it too was money.
Yeah.
That was a really, really tough point. We never really had the money to put me through organized sports. So growing like through elementary school, it was a mixture of just not thinking it was my thing because I was a bigger kid and I wasn't popular and I wasn't athletic and I wasn't, a great guy. I wasn't, all these things that, most people would expect an athlete to be. And then just not having the money to be able to put me through it, it really just made me feel like there was no point in me even trying to start doing that, because even if I enjoy it, there's no way I'm going to be able to play it. We're not going to have the money. We're not going to be able to get me to practices. A lot of the times we didn't have a car. And it was just this compounding feelings of, no, it's not worth it. There's no point.
Yeah, and I think that also obviously affects your self-esteem when you can't do something just because you don't have money. And again,
Yeah.
I'm in that boat because I was in that boat when I was your age, or when I was young as well, because we didn't have a lot of money. We found a way to play hockey. I don't even know how we did it, but I know I have friends back in Ontario working with their programs called Be the Game, and out west here there's Kids Sport, and their sole existence is to help children and families participate in sports if they don't have the money to pay, because hockey is expensive. For example, it might cost $400 for equipment if you buy new stuff, and $500 for registration for 1 year, and that's a lot of money. So, and hockey's a fun sport. But
Yeah.
I'm all for kids being active. I don't think they have to play sport, but they should be kids, and kids would naturally want to play. And what do they play? Well, they'll play tag, they'll play street hockey, they'll play hide and seek, they'll play games, they'll use their imagination. And if a kid is disallowed from doing that, or restricted from doing that for whatever reason, they're not going to develop emotionally and mentally and physically like they need to. And that's why I'm curious about your situation of when you were younger, what it was like in your mindset, why you felt you couldn't play. And then I'm convinced from what you've told me, this all led up to that fact that you were 200 pounds. And for you to have lost that weight is a huge thing, because a lot of these kids don't recover from that. They stay heavy, and they cannot lose that weight as they get older. So hats off to you for doing that. Now, once you started losing the weight, when you had the paper route paper route, if people are listening from the USA, what happened? Like, did something just click? Hey, I can do this. And then I know now you're active outdoors. You love the outdoors, and you do a lot of physical stuff now. From grade 10 on, when you started doing that paper route, what did you start doing after that? Once you lost that 15 pounds, it kind of got you going to where you are today.
Man, so yeah, I did the paper route. That was really great. And then I think I started to get into biking quite a bit, or wanting to bike. And just losing the weight felt so great, and the pain in my back was going away. And it was just like, it was a whole new world again. Like I felt like I could actually do things outside of being either socially outcast or physically unable or monetarily unable. Just to like, oh, I feel like I can actually do things. So I started to walk a lot more. I did a bit of running around. Like I started to run around with friends. And then, yeah, I kind of kept going. And the big thing I'm trying to think of, or what's really standing out for me, was the biking. And in grade 11, I took environmental studies. This was a big one. Every week, you would go on a hike. Every single week, for like the first double block of the week, you would go for a hike, which was awesome. And Honestly, had I not done the paper route or any of that, I probably wouldn't have done the course. Just because the thought of hiking would have just been so daunting. But having that confidence instilled from dropping that extra weight and from really beginning to feel within my own body, I was able to do this course, excel, and have fun while I was doing it, and really enjoy being active and being outside and talking to people while hiking and starting to make some new good friends, and it snowballed from there. Hiking a lot, biking more, willing to run around. I started playing a game in Victoria called Manhunt,
Manhunt, yeah.
which is
No,
just a
hope there's no weapons involved with that.
no weapons. It's just a big game of organized of hide and go seek tag,
Awesome.
basically. So just a bunch of people in Victoria get together every couple of weeks, gather at a location, and just play a big game of tag and run
That's
around.
awesome.
So
Well,
it's
I'm just going to interrupt you there for a second. I think that is so cool. I have a book that I ordered from a website called The Exuberant Animal, and what they are is a bunch of physical therapists, trainers, martial artists, and they've developed a course that they do in somewhere in Washington State, and the book that I have from them is about play. It's a book about play from the Play Masters secret games, and basically what it talks about is getting humans back to just having fun. People do workouts. They go to the gym. They do boot camps. They do all these regimented exercises when really the body needs to be moving naturally. And tag is one of the greatest developers of athleticism, but it's also super fun. Hide and seek, tag, those kind of games that you're talking about, manhunt. I mean, it's what people want, and it's what they crave. And hats off to you for doing that. Can you give us a website on that or any information about Manhunt? I wonder if it's being played in any of the other cities.
Manhunt. Yes, I don't think that there's one central website for it. It's kind of run by individuals who just decide to take it up in different cities, and it's played all over the place. It's played here in Victoria, Vancouver, Calgary, Edmonton, all over the place. And I mean, it's not like you need to pay in and buy a book on how to do it. It's
Yeah.
just a simple game of hide and seek tag. You can just probably do a Google search, Manhunt. You can search Manhunt Victoria, Manhunt Vancouver. They all have the rules listed, and if you feel like starting it up, by all means, go for it.
Cool.
You just have to get the word out, gather people, and you get to
We
play a
should
big
do a
game of
Manhunt
tag.
Souk. Manhunt Souk.
Yeah.
How many people play these games at one time?
The largest group we've had was about 70 or 80 people.
On two teams?
On it was all we did a one big group game.
Oh man.
So how it starts off with one person as being it, and then that one person tags someone else, and then they both become it.
How do they know who's it?
You don't.
You
That's
don't.
a big aspect to the game. It's as much of a mind game as it is a physical game.
So with 70 players, how much space do you need? Do you need a pretty big park? Well, you need somewhere where you can actually hide.
Yeah, I think we took over three-quarters of Beacon Hill Park,
Wow.
or almost the entire park.
That
It
is
was
so cool.
it was massive.
That is so much fun, and you see, this is what people need to do, and it doesn't matter what your age is. But kids, if you look at kids, they love playing hide and seek. They love playing tag. And when I coach sports, I try to make sure that kids have fun playing, and we use games like this on the ice, for example, in hockey. No problem using this for young children. Basketball training. But adults, I mean, what are the ages of the people that were playing with you?
It's so funny that you talk about that because I would say it's a lot of 20 plus.
20
We don't
plus? Yeah.
Yeah, we don't get a lot of youth though, but it was really incredible because there was this one time I just overheard the story. A couple other people were talking, and there was a younger kid there, and it's just so funny because the older people kind of like whispering amongst each other, kind of like, are those guys like a little young to be here? But like if you look back on it, it's like a bunch of adults playing a game
Yeah.
that is stereotypically done just by kids having fun. So it was interesting.
What about the upper age limit? Like, because people in their 30s and 40s and 50s should be doing this as well.
Yeah, I would say there's been 30, 40-year-olds that coming out for sure. There was a couple last game who had a few kids who were going to bring them out. I'd say they were in their 40s,
Awesome.
late
Well,
30s.
it's kind of a sidetrack that we got onto, but I think it's important, and I'm gonna get the word out on that. I think that's really, really cool. So now it's been how many years since you lost the weight?
It's been wow, 3 or 4
Yeah.
now.
Okay, so you're 165 now. You were 200. Do you struggle at all mentally with cravings, or with or have you completely beaten this? Have you whipped this weight thing?
Oh, I've whipped it.
Yeah,
It's totally gone.
very good.
Um, yeah, just no desire really to do the things I did.
Hmm.
Eating junky food, and it just doesn't make me feel good now. Cause like I've been eating really well. I've moved out. I'm living on my own, and I'm still really paying attention to what I'm eating and trying to eat well.
Hmm.
And just no desire to eat that junk. It just doesn't make me feel good at all. Like eating a McDonald's snack wrap makes makes me feel like crap afterwards. Like it's
Let's
just
not
not
get
good.
there's no libel here towards McDonald's. Let's not get make sure that we don't get
Sorry
sued by
about that.
McDonald's for the McDonald's crap snack wrap. I mean, and so yeah, I know when I saw you a lot in the summer, you were eating all the time. You're eating healthy foods. You're eating tangerines or oranges or apples and salads and all that stuff, and I think that's fantastic. And I do think your message is so powerful for anybody. It doesn't matter if you're young or old, but obviously we're talking about youth fitness and youth obesity because it is a huge problem. But you also have an inspirational story for adults that might be struggling with weight challenges. I do think a lot of times it's stems from emotional issues, but the fact is you still have to do something about it. And I love the idea of the manhunt game. So now, do you feel that when you're playing that game, I want to go back to that, is it a good workout?
Oh,
Yeah.
definitely. It's totally good workout because like it's totally primal.
Hmm.
So you're
Primal.
walking around, you're hiding. There's in essence it's kind of like good guys versus bad guys. Like you don't want to get tagged.
And
So
you're
you're running
running too.
around.
You run and walk, right? I mean, you can't run
Yeah.
because depending on your condition, that's so cool.
And yeah, so like if you're hiding and someone pops up on you, like your first instinct is run. It's get out of there.
Hmm.
So it's this bolt and then you run and you got to go and oh yeah, it's just amazing. So much fun.
As I said, the exuberant animal. I'll post the link to that, and I'll try to post a link for the manhunt. I'll try to find something in this video / audio. I'm not sure how it's going to be, but it'll probably be both. Justin, I want to ask you just kind of if you have any last thoughts about, or inspirational thoughts or message that you want to leave the listeners with. Maybe add something that we haven't talked about yet, because we can keep talking about it if you'd like. But is there anything that you want to add, or in terms of last thoughts?
Yeah, one thing that's really stood out for me and that really, really got me wanting to be in better shape was I went climbing
Hmm.
in Squamish. A friend took me out onto the rocks,
Rock climbing, yeah.
rock climbing, yeah. And I never thought I could do anything like that. Like I was no pulling myself up a rock, like that's ridiculous. There's no way. And I got up and just did it,
Mm.
and it happened, and it was the most incredible feeling I've ever had. Getting to the top of the rock and just being like, "Oh man,
Wow.
like I did this myself." And it wasn't like my friend who was down there on the belay. The belay is someone who keeps you safe from falling down the rock.
Hmm.
They're attached to your rope. It wasn't like she was pulling me up or anything. It was me going up on my own.
Hmm.
And that was a really huge defining moment in realizing that I've gotten somewhere and that I can keep going somewhere with being physical and being active and being able to do things and being willing and wanting to do it. And I just totally want to suggest anybody out there, like if you want to take a group to feel empowered or to feel like they're doing really good things, take them climbing. Go to a gym or just some rocks that are really easy, because it's for me. I mean, it's not across. I'd love to say it's across the map and it would work for everybody,
Hmm.
but it's an amazing tool and exercise. My roommate does a lot of work with youth who are disabled or youth who are unable to go to like a regular camp. They take them climbing. They have an amazing time. There's so much encouragement, and it's a really incredible thing to try and do. Just to go up a wall or a rock is amazing.
Well, that's cool. I think that I've never really done that myself, but I know that I have a lot of friends who have, and I think living in British Columbia, we're very lucky and fortunate to have amazing, where you keep using that word amazing, but incredible mountains and hills and rocks everywhere around to do climbing. I don't know, maybe is British Columbia considered one of the premier climbing destinations? I know with the Chief in Squamish you mentioned. Do you know, is it one of the best places to be a climber?
Yes, Squamish definitely has some of the best granite in the world.
Wow, that's great. Now, does it cost? Is there a lot of equipment involved with that, with the climbing?
If you go to a gym, you can rent all the gear you need, and the ropes are already there. So it's actually relatively inexpensive. It's maybe $20 to rent all the gear and a day of session climbing at most gyms. So it's really reasonably priced. There's group rates. Lots of gyms do a lot of youth. What do I want to say? A lot of youth opportunities to get a group out. They do a lot of group bookings. You can book outside of regular hours, things like that.
Okay.
So the options and avenues are definitely in place. If you have a group and want to go, it's really easy to make it happen.
Cool. Well, listen, I think you're quite an inspiration, Justin, for everybody that's listening who maybe have struggled with their weight and realize you can beat it, you can succeed, you move past those challenges. You talk a lot about play, which I'm a big advocate of. You talk a lot about just having fun and finding something that works for you, because everybody is different. And you found something that was working for you, and you became successful at it. And now you have a story and you have a message that you can get out. So Justin's website right now, he's got a blog. It's Dysphoric Euphoria, and it's justinillien.blogspot.com. I'll post that link. Justin is how you spell Justin, the normal name, and then Illien, Illien, .blogspot.com. And so what I want to say is, for the people that are listening, I'm going to ask that you write a comment below this video about what you heard today. And also, I would like for you guys to tell me your story. And maybe we'll, if we hear an inspirational story in one of the comments, we'll give you a call and interview you as well, because we feel that youth fitness is really important. The youth obesity problem is getting worse, and we're trying to do our part in improving the lives of kids that are overweight, because it is a terrible thing to see an overweight child that is so chubby that they can't even move. So let's make a difference. Write your comments below, send us your email, send us your story, and we'll get it out there on the air. Justin, thanks very much for your time today. Great story. And we'll hopefully talk to you again soon.
Yeah, thank you so much. And everybody, just remember, have fun, enjoy yourself, enjoy your body, enjoy the people you're around. Get yourself into a place where you want to be motivated and feel like you can be your own individual and use yourself to your full potential, because it's a beautiful thing.
Absolutely. Thank you, Justin. A great message, great story. What more can I say? That was awesome.
Thank you for the opportunity, Todd. It was great chatting with you.
Hey, thanks for listening to today's podcast. We'll be here next time. Keep the emails coming in and be sure to subscribe.